I got two redheads in this boy. Hey! So we're here at the Alabaster Box over in Alabaster. Alabaster Unlimited! And we unlimited too in Christ. So check this out. My guy Jason James pulled up on me. And I want him to share his testimony with you about how God told him to do something and why he was doing it. It didn't look like, I guess, the results of if God told you to do something.
Yeah.
But he stood on it. And this gonna be for that person that's probably suicidal right now because your situation ain't what you thought it would be. That person is about to quit. That person that finna give up on the whole thing. I pray that when you hear his story, and we're gonna dialogue and talk, that you share this with somebody. When you share this with somebody, that person is finna tell you, thank you for sending that message. I was about to give up. So Jason James, let's bag up. So you were driving truck, right?
18 wheelers.
18, not 18. You drive 18 wheelers.
Yeah.
So walk us through why did you get out the 18 wheeler? And was you making good money doing 18 wheelers?
Some places I was.
Okay.
Some places I wasn't.
Okay. So what was that transition like? You having 18 wheelers and you got your own home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got your own home.
Yeah.
Okay. So me and you ended up going to Bible college together. So what's that transition like from 18 wheelers to now you not driving, you're not even working, you at Bible school? Walk us through how money's coming in. Like, walk us through that. Like, what happened? What was the transition?
Well, I had been on, not a sabbatical, but I went through a real rough spot. Went through a divorce in 2019, and for 2 years I was still seeking God, but I was not going to church. I was kind of just burnt by church and church leadership. I love Jesus, I love my son, and that's it. But in 2021, the Lord spoke to me to go to a service at Kingsway, where I used to go, where we went to the college. And I was like, no thanks. And that was July. Then like back the first weekend in September, God told me again, go, which was Labor Day weekend. And so I went on that Sunday, and then I found out that they were starting the college, which had already been going like 2 years. And so I applied for it, and then the director, Tim Beck, got on the phone with him, and he said, "Yeah." He said, "We'll give you, I can't remember what he said. We'll give you 5 days of grace. We'll give you a week of grace to find a different job that can work with the school." So I was working full time, 40 hours a week, driving a flatbed truck, and so.
Hold on. So he said, "I'm gonna give you days of grace to find a job that would allow you to be able to attend
On site.
On site." Okay.
He said, "We prayed. We believe you're supposed to be here. Give God your yes. He'll do the rest."
That's a bar.
So I had found a job. I had been kind of wanting to get out of the 18-wheel industry because I have a son, and if you know anything about that, local is the worst in my opinion, because that's a long day. You go home before they wake up. You go home after they're in bed. Sometimes you got weekend work, and it's just long hours. You get paid by the mile, not by the hour most of the time. So I had got offered a position that would work the school schedule, still driving 18-wheel with Marraige. So I put in my notice. Well, I told the job that I was at, had been there like a year and a half. I said, I hate to do this, but I got to put in a 3-day notice. I got an opportunity of a lifetime before me, and I got to take this job. This is the best notice I give you. And so I did that. They withheld my 2 weeks of vacation pay, but that's all right. God got you back. And so And the job that I accepted, then they come to find out after I accepted it, they said they can't work with the schedule. What? And so I start the school anyway because I just know, I just know God is in this. Sometimes you just know that you know that you know, regardless. So it started out that way, and throughout the whole school is that way. I ended up working 2 part-time jobs for first year and through part of second year, and then but at all that time working 2 part-time jobs and donating plasma twice a week every week, and I was doing all I could, you know, and so.
So you was working 2 part-time jobs and you were donating plasma so you could pay your bills.
Yeah. And I had been doing that for 3.5 years, but so donating plasma. So if you need some money, that you can go to at downtown. It's like you can get $100 a week.
I'm gonna ask you that.
$150 a week, tax free. They put it on a card. They give you a Visa card. Your first day is like a 3-hour deal where they running your. You gotta do you gotta check your heart. You have to do it through a full medical panel review.
So basically almost $600 a month.
Yeah, tax free.
Tax free.
Yeah. And I heard somebody had done that for some years and they bought a brand new car. They had like $27,000 on it. But if you want to make an easy $100 or so a week for free, just sitting there, I mean, it don't feel good sometimes, but it's free money, so pretty much so.
So you donated plasma. This between year 1 and 2, this is what's all going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, and then I ended up leaving one of the part-time jobs because they didn't have any work through the winter, so I switched to another part-time job at Home Depot. And then some months later, I finally got the job working for the state of Alabama, Department of Agriculture as a state bee inspector. But all this time, the first year, I wasn't making enough money to make complete payments and missing some payments on my home payment. I live just a few minutes away from this business, and so I'm getting a letter in the mail saying your house is going to be foreclosed on this date, and I'm staying in contact with them all the time, saying I'm working, you know, just communication. I got a job, I got 2 jobs, I'm doing all I can. I made a half a payment, and all this in the note a certified letter in mail every month. Saying we got to foreclose on your home. God saying, you know, don't move. You know, stand still, see the salvation of the Lord. You know, so. But most importantly, Matthew 6:33, seek God, pray, spend time with God. MC Hammer. His words like a hammer. You got to pray just to make it today. That's every day, all day. So, I feel like I was supposed to wear this shirt. So
You was.
Yeah. And so Matthew 6:33, just continue to seek Him first. Do what you believe that He's called you to do, regardless. And so, about January of 3rd year, I get the letter in the mail saying your house is no longer under foreclosure, and got the official paperwork, and they lowered my payment just a little bit. So. And I got the job with the state, and I had been there 2.5 years.
So you was y'all let them know about you gotta let honey now. Tell them about that honey.
316 Bee Farm. I started beekeeping 5 years ago. It's been a real fun journey, and I have 9 colonies right now. I plan to keep 12 all 3 this fall. But I have a half an acre of property with my house, so if you got a backyard, if you got somebody that's got some land, you can start it. And I know the people to send you to.
So is it fun? You said it's fun. Like, you ever been bit?
I get stung all the time, especially on the job. But
Nah, me personally, stung ain't fun. Stung ain't fun. No.
You get used to it.
Get used to it.
I got stung by wasps and yellow jackets growing up, and when you cut the grass, and that hurts. A honeybee, it hurts, but after a minute or 2, it goes away. It don't hurt as bad.
So it don't hurt as bad as the wasp. So I got bit by a wasp on my neck.
Yeah.
And ever since that, every time I see a wasp, I do this right now, protect my neck.
Yeah.
So you saying that the bee sting don't really hurt?
Yeah, and after, you know, depending on how they hit, like the most painful one was right on the top of my hand, which is the least amount of skin and meat and tissue there. So that was the most.
So is this point now you don't even want to put on the suit to go out there?
No, I still put on the suit,
Okay.
the jacket and veil,
It ain't that fun.
but I wear blue jeans, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But I've been hit with like over 30 at a time.
Okay. So what's your passion? Like what do bees? Oh, let's go. All right, we're gonna go here. We're gonna go here. We're gonna go here. What's in the ecosystem? And I need for you to parallel what bees do, but spiritualize that boy in the spiritual realm as far as comparing us and bees. Like, how would you parallel that in the spiritual realm?
So everything to do with honeybees, you can see the heart of the father, the heart of the kingdom in it, because everything they do is for the sake of the whole, not for self, but for the sake of the whole colony. So average colony, like you might have seen the little boxes on the side of the road somewhere before. One of those boxes will hold about 10,000 honeybees. So if you got, most people run double deep, so that's about 20,000. I'm sorry, not 10,000, 60,000. So you got an average of like 120,000 honeybees in one healthy colony. 120,000. So, but it's not like we all grew up watching cartoons and the swarm of bees chasing the Daffy Duck or whoever. That's not realistic. There are Africanized honeybees that can be more protective. It's just kind of like the instinct. They were bred that way, but it's not like the cartoons. So you got to provoke them. If you just see a honeybee or really any kind of bee flying around, it's not just going to come to you. It's going to be rare if it does. So everything they do, they go through like 7 or 8 different jobs. They live 42 days. The queen will live a few years. They used to live years, but the queen average is around 2 or 3 years. But the workers live 42 days outside of the winter months because they literally work themselves to death, dying for the sake of the whole.
Yeah.
Out and they'll travel 3 to 5 miles, going and collecting pollen and nectar and water, and bring it back to the colony. They bring back water, and they have their own air conditioning. They'll bring water back and fan the wings and condensation. So they keep the hive, they keep the internal temperature around 97 degrees year round. People with thermal cameras will shoot their thermal camera like on a 17-degree day. I've heard personal beekeeper friend of mine, and they're like 96, 97. So in the winter they'll disconnect their muscles from their wings and they'll vibrate and generate heat to keep that 97 degrees temperature on the inside because the brood, the developed young bees in there, they need that temperature range to survive and make it and live. So they'll all cluster up in a ball and they just vibrate and generate heat to keep everybody the same temperature. And so right here.
I'm gonna ask you about what you got. I'm gonna ask you about hexagon.
The hexagon is it's the strongest geometric shape. They're like engineers. They're smarter than we are. And you can get more hexagon, the shape of a hexagon, you can get more of those per square inch than any other geometric shape. So not is it only the strongest for a structure, but it's also, you get more, you get the most out of what you have. And so their most vital resource, they're young, and their food, and their honey supply. So, and their honey is what they eat in the winter. Outside of the winter, they eat pollen and nectar. So their honey is just in the winter. So I remember, I think it's 3,000 hexagon wax cells each side of the frame.
So you're saying they eat honey in the winter. So from the time that you go in, when it's harvest time, you pull the honey, Do you pull all of it, or you leave some for them, or are they gonna generate some between that time?
You're supposed to leave a whole medium. A medium is like a half of a deep box. You're supposed to leave a whole medium, 10 frames of honey for them to make it through the winter.
Okay.
So you can take everything else besides that, but you gotta leave each colony one whole box of honey for them to do it off of.
Okay.
Then, so a honeybee has 5 eyes. Grace, David, and the slingshot, 5 smooth stomachs. They got 2 eyes for they can see the UV spectrum we can't see, so they can see colors quicker and faster and recognize them quicker than we can, and they see colors we can't see. And so that's how they, see different flowers and stuff. And then they have 3 eyes in the middle of their head, and that's their GPS system.
GPS.
Yeah. So they fly staring directly at the sun. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
that's the only way to navigate. So at nighttime they can't fly because they can't see the sun.
That's why you don't see bees out at night.
Yeah, they can't see.
Wow. 3. That just rocked me.
You can't go anywhere without the sun.
That just rocked me right there.
Yeah.
Bees got 5 eyes. 5 represent grace.
Yeah.
3. What do the number 3 represent?
The Trinity.
The Trinity. Is it anything else that the 3 represent at all that you know of? And the reason
just unity, like a threefold cord is not easily broken.
Unity. Wow. And I ask this because what's been happening with me and my wife is we started liquidation, the first one. Yeah. It was 3 years that we built it up before I was asked before that finished. Mm-hmm. So the person told me it took us 3 months to find this location we in right here. When we got our business license for this location, we got our business license. The next day we got it was our 19th year anniversary. The next day, or the first day that we sold some pallets, we was able to do it legally. 3 days. We've been in this building now, it's been like 3 months. So, God been doing stuff with 3. He just said the bee actually, and then he said 5 is what? Grace. When me and my wife was in her phone, then we're gonna segue into marriage. Yeah. In her phone, before she got married, she had husband saved at the top in her phone, like she put a number. And the number she put for her husband was 555 5555. It was 7 5s that she put, and it was just symbolic, like she knew she was gonna get put it like this. The day that it was January the 5th is the day that I called her. I called her. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. She was headed to work. Her 5th year anniversary on the job she was working. I bought me a 2005 Chrysler 300 on that day. It was 2005. So it was like 7 5s, and she had in her phone 5 5. That was the day that I actually asked her, like, no, I'm saying it's gonna be me and you. Like I actually. So
how did you know that it was okay for you to call this lady at 5 a.m.?
I knew she was going to work.
Okay.
She was on her way to work.
I was about to say that's a bold.
I know, right?
You gotta hear from.
He right about that. He right about that. So, you talking about the numbers? You talking about? So let's dig into marriage. After you had got a divorce, went through the divorce, how did you know you wanted to even be married again? Because after some people go through these divorces and stuff, how long have you been single before you even desire to even want to be married?
Yeah, I was burnt. I grew up at a very young age. I'd say around 6 or 7. I wasn't saved then. I got saved when I was 21 years old. April 3rd, 2005. Never forget it. And but I remember around the age of 6 or 7, I remember I just looked up in the sky and I just had this thought. I was like, I can't wait till I grow up and I have my own wife and family, because this ain't what it's supposed to be like. and I just had an idea in my heart of how I wanted life to be as far as it comes to wife and marriage, family. And so you got to hear God. You got to hear God. Wait on the Lord, because that's not what I do. But God will take, like with Samson, He'll take the ugliest thing that we've got ourselves into, and He will make honey come out of the lion carcass. Out of the very thing that was sent to destroy, God made honey come up out of it.
The very thing that the enemy has sent to destroy you, God will do what?
He'll put some honey up in it.
Come on, man.
The honey speaks of His word, revelation. And so enlightened, Jonathan ate the honeycomb, his eyes were enlightened, his vision. And so I went through that. I was married, had my son from my first marriage. So divorce in 2019, so 2021. It was a little over 2 years. I was like burned. I don't want to get married. I just want to love my son and love Jesus. I went to the school and I think I was in first year. I had a dream, and in the dream I was at a worship set at the college in the dream, and there's like an audible voice narrating the dream to me while I'm having it, and the voice was obviously the Lord, but was speaking inwardly in my spirit that your wife is here and she's currently in college, and that she's not just some other kind of person. She's a good woman. And but when I looked at the front to see her face, her like I see like the clothes, but I couldn't see any details.
This was in the dream.
In the dream,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then from like the neck up was kind of like Moses. You're just all bright light because God didn't want me to see who it was. You don't need to know everything. You just need to know the one.
Do you
need to know the author, not the book.
Do you feel like at the time, if you would have seen who it was, do you feel like that could have actually hindered or delayed the process, because it's possible that she wasn't ready yet?
Yeah. It could be so many different things.
Okay.
Me, her, this, that, and the third.
Okay.
So, but
I'm happy you said that, because I met my wife. I saw my wife first in high school. I was too shy to holler at her. She had a boyfriend and he had some girlfriends.
Yeah.
At least that's what I go and check out Crush on You. That's in the song. But
that's a great
but I was in Walmart, working in Walmart, and I seen her walk through the store, and I tried to holler at her because I was bold. And I said, "Hey, can I get in touch with you?" She said no. And so I bring it up to say that sometimes the time she wasn't ready, I wasn't ready, and if it would have happened right then, it could have been crazy. Yeah. So you were saying, so you was not able to exactly who in a dream who she was, and so what happened after that?
So that was in first year.
First year, okay.
And so I just kind of left it at that. Trusted the Lord that was Him. Not all dreams are the Lord, so weigh everything with the Word and prayer. I just got to throw this in there. I say it to everybody, just about. I feel like the most important scripture in the Bible is Leviticus chapter 10, verse 7, which says, "Remain in the tent of meeting, for the anointing of the Lord, the anointing oil of the Lord is upon you, lest you die." So, in other words, stay in your prayer cause with God. Seek God first, seek God early. And don't, not to make it religious duty, but it's relationship. If you had to start out with 10 minutes, start out for 10 minutes, and you'll just be patient with yourself, be patient with the Lord, because intimacy isn't grown overnight. We all know that, especially the ladies out there. So just continue to give yourself to the Lord in prayer, and just watch what He'll do.
That's good, man. That's good. So my God, so alright. So You're married.
Yeah.
Alright. How would you describe you seeing everything that God showed you to the different things that happened from that point to now that you actually you approach her and that you are 100% that you done went back and you done saw everything God showed you, and what was that like finally actually when you go back to your mind and you see like, man, I think this is her. Like, okay, this is her.
Yeah.
What was that like finally actually seeing physically what you was always seeing in the spiritual realm?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was still by faith because and the Lord set it up. I can't take any,
We know.
Yeah.
We can mess with stuff.
Yeah. So in third year we do a lot of more hands-on, and we go out into the inner city in Birmingham and different places, and we had healing rooms certain days of the week. So I think it was the first one. Maybe either way, just December 5th. They sent us the text for the layout for that day for healing rooms, and I'm scrolling down looking for my name, and so I'm doing the intake for prayer, and I see my name right next to Desiree's name. So this is a 4-hour healing rooms. So we're sitting at the front receiving people as they come in, they sign their paperwork, and we just host until it's their time to go back for prayer and ministry.
Mm-hmm.
So we had 4 hours that we're sitting beside each other to talk. God just set that up. So from there, that was December 5th. December 7th, I pulled to the side and asked her if we could go do something sometime, go hiking or whatever. And I think she said we could go with her friends or something like that. But over time, she said that she wasn't interested in because she got burnt by marriage. And the guy's name was Christian. So, and he was, it's not about race, but he was white, I'm white.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had planned, if she had ever married, she had in her mind.
You didn't want to tell him she's not white. Okay, go.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, like Proverbs says, a man, there's a way that seems right to man. It seemed right to Desiree, my wife. Which her name, by the way, means from father.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, Desiree.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, it was in her mind that she, number one, she didn't want to get married. And number two, if she did get married, she wanted to stay within African American race.
Okay.
And so I just became her friend. I just continued to show up, and if she called, I answered the phone.
Okay.
She called me up. We found out that we both had used Polo, and so we started poloing.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
When you can do the video.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit here and there,
Okay.
here and there. And then there was one day she called in the afternoon, and she was just crying. She was going through something, and I just listened to her, and come to find out that meant a whole lot to her, and that's what started turning her to me.
Wow.
Because I sat there and gave her my ear and my time.
So you're trying to tell me the friend zone is not always a bad zone. It can be a season for the friend zone. So a lot of me, I'm one of them. When I was dating, or when I was out there in the streets, if a female put me in the friend zone, I'm gone. Friend zone means I'm gone. And one time a girl put me in the friend zone, and I understand because she had just had a baby. She put me in the friend zone, and when she put me in the friend zone, I was like, friend. I'm telling her stuff. She's seeing a different, getting in bad relationships. And she made a statement, you just didn't want to wait. I was like, guys, you trying to tell me if I would have waited, it was a possibility for that relationship to work. But my thought was like, you put me in the so, but just being patient. So when you got put in the friend zone, was your thoughts, I know what God showed me, and I'm just gonna be friends until she's able to see it? Or was it's just friend zone, okay.
I just had faith. I just didn't believe I just didn't feel in my spirit or heart. I feel like there's more to it. But if you feel that, just because you feel a certain way, you don't always need to tell that. You just keep that between you and the Lord and pray to the Lord. Because you can be right
That's good.
and hear from the Lord, and you open your mouth at the wrong time and you mess it up.
Oh, that's good.
Slow to speak, quick to listen, slow to anger. We got 2 ears, 1 mouth. So
That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, so what advice would you give? Because I know when my dad gave my wife some advice, she said, keep other people out of your business. He was like, that's the best thing that you can do sometimes, not giving your, and so was it possible that you sharing your business or her sharing her business with people, did it come to a point that kind of caused conflict or something, or cause it not to be peaceful in the transition of y'all communicating? Did that ever occur?
you mean after we started dating?
After y'all started dating, or right before y'all started dating?
We kept it real tight for a minute, just because sometimes least said is best said.
Okay. Okay.
Because I've already hinted at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, keep your stuff personal.
Okay.
Until it's more solid. Or
Why do you feel like that's like what's wrong with telling somebody that, hey, I'm talking to her, or I'm thinking about talking to her? Like what's the harm in that?
if you mutually agree, that's one thing, but it seems like when you're in group settings, no matter where it's at, it don't matter if it's school, church, the coffee shop, if you're in group settings, people are all in different walks of life and different places of their mature and healing journey. And so not everyone is able to protect information.
Man.
Hey! Or steward the information.
He just said, or steward it.
Protect it, steward it.
And it's not, and this is not to say anything negative about that person. But okay.
I was just gonna throw in there, and even Jesus, who is God Himself,
Come on, man.
he told stuff to John, Peter,
man.
and who was it? James, John, Peter, and
John, Peter. Who was it? John, Peter. It might have been James, but it was 3.
He had 3 of the 12 disciples that he told.
If we missed it, put it in the comment.
Yeah. So there was the 12 disciples, and then he had the 3 that were his, and then he had John, who was right next to his heart.
Yeah.
So John probably heard more than anybody. So, but Jesus said, "Don't cast your pearls before swine." Jesus ain't calling nobody no pig. He's saying some people are not at a level of maturity or trustworthiness with the information or the activity or whatever's going on.
Got some oink in them.
So you got to protect and steward things.
That's good. And that's good. And you could release some information to somebody, and they can go in excitement talking about it, but it really ain't supposed to get talked. And they happy about it. But we gotta look at it's on me. I shouldn't have said, because I could have protected him from going out there talking to her well, and it protected me or her. So man, that is good. So now y'all are communicating. What was it like? Did both of y'all did it trigger that? Because you said that she really didn't want to get married again. What caused it to shift? What was it? Was it a specific thing, or she heard a word from God that triggered? What was it?
She was praying about it. She had her little circle of 3 that of trustworthy friends that were praying with her, and encouraging her. And they were, as she puts it, they were cheering me on. And she was resistant, and they're like, "Girl, you know, and just trust God, you know," and and she's feeling her stuff, and she I think it was around Christmas of 2023. she was going to a Christmas party with her friends, and she just, it's like God was just like here and there, just growing her heart for me, and opening her eyes, and just so God was meeting her in her time, in her time frame, because God is a gentleman also.
Don't you know that God can use people, and they know they're being used in the season? He can use a person in the season to be on your behalf. And it ain't the fact that they was really your fan or really just rooting for you. It was the fact that during that time, God was using them, because out of season, you can start really seeing, okay, this is but that man, all right, so God had people that was for you. That he put right there. The genie might have to, I'm gonna go ahead and just have them just go ahead and just
Yeah. And so just the Lord just put it together, and working with her. I honestly believe that God being patient with her.
Come on.
And that was my duty and responsibility also, is to be patient with her.
Come on, man.
And so she came to a place where she just knew it was the Lord, and she just knew. And so she picked the date that we would start dating, which was 20, because Ephesians 3:20 was our scripture that we had talked about a lot. So March 20th was the official day that we started dating. And again, she picked that. I didn't come up with anything, after she told me that, I feel like we are supposed to be together, and I just followed her lead in that, and being patient with her.
Okay.
And so, and honoring where she was at. And so not me saying, no, God done told me we're supposed to be together, you just need to line up. No, you do that, then you're going to be folded up.
Do you believe that that's manipulation, when somebody can and tell the other person that God told me that you're going to be my wife, or is it just immaturity? Or can it be both?
I think it can be both. Depends on the situation. Could be both, could be one or the other.
Okay. So Atlanta, how did you, so y'all talking 3:20.
Yeah.
Okay. So when do you propose? When do
So on March 20th, we went on our January 6th, I think it was, we went, we had a group breakfast. So all her friends and me. That's it.
Wow.
So we go to Cracker Barrel. Oh, I had to go speak at a beat club. And because Desiree was putting out this, like, if you're in this, like, show me a miracle for provision. So I went to go speak at a beat club in North Alabama, and then they gave me a thank you card with like a $50 gift card to Cracker Barrel. And that ministered to her, and it was like, it blew her mind.
Wow.
Yeah, so
at Cracker Barrel, right? I mean, as far as that meat. What y'all?
yeah, we took that gift card that I received, and I covered mine in her meal.
And that was the provision.
Yeah. And so I'm sitting there, and all her friends sitting around me in a circle at a big table at Cracker Barrel, all just popping off questions, like I'm on trial. So I mean, they weren't being rude or anything like that. They were just sincerely asking questions and getting to know me on a different level.
I don't know why I thought about Mr. Big also on taking the truck.
And so that went good. And then after the breakfast, we went and walked to the park for hours, and then.
So that's your first time being alone in the park, or have you hiking?
Well, the group went with us.
Okay.
So we weren't alone. So our first time going on a date or doing anything.
That's so
we saw each other at the school, but so we went to the girl as a group, went walking as a group, and then
boundaries.
Just saw her at school.
Man, I'm telling you, y'all was a great example that I like when I started seeing. They had so many boundaries set up. It's like it was. Here goes some boundaries, because when me and my wife was actually talking, we didn't have sex before we got married, but yet we didn't have certain boundaries set up that we should have had. And it got to when we started setting them up, it's like I got to the point I didn't want to be alone with her. Like if I was taking her home or something, I would run, because I know a kiss would actually lead to me wanting to kiss more. Yeah. So it was like I was just running. She's like, what's wrong with you? I'll run. Today she'll say, thank you for protecting me.
Yeah. That's very. I'm glad you said that. That's the top priority is to wait for marriage, because you're guarding something that's worth it, and you're taking something, you're waiting for something that's holy and pure that God intended it. I think it's in Proverbs 5 or 6. Your sex life will be blessed and all that. So if you don't know about soul ties, you can do some research on that. But every person that you are intimate with, a piece of your soul gets connected to them. And, you know, so depending on, that could go so many different ways. And that's why it's so hard for people each other that's in like bad relationships. They got their souls are tied together in a sad situation. I have experienced that, and I'm sure a lot of people have. But if you find yourself on this side of life serving the Lord, and you're somebody, don't do it. It ain't worth it. Because you're gonna feel bad right after.
Okay. So what's the date? So how did y'all go about setting the date?
So Ephesians 3:20, we went on a first date.
First date. I mean proposal. Okay.
Well, not proposal, but we went on our first
date.
We went on our first date, and we went hiking. And so, we went riding bikes, and because I just had this feeling in my spirit that we were supposed to go ride bikes together. And so we went and rode bikes.
Cycling?
And so we come down this hill, and there's this little girl, like 3 or 4 years old. She's walking by herself. There's an adult walking like 150, 200 feet ahead, and then there's this guy like 150, 200 feet with a dog. So there's this little 3, 4-year-old girl on a bike with training wheels. I'm like, where's this girl's parents? But we had passed by on a bike. I passed by first. And Desiree was right behind me. And she just looked at us and she said, "Are y'all married?" I don't know, could have been an angel. But I mean, you know what I mean? So I think God was being funny. But what little 3 or 4-year-old girl just say that to strangers riding by on a bike?
So what conversation did that trigger? Like what was her asking that? What was Desiree thought about?
At that point, she knew we were supposed to be married. We just didn't know when.
Okay.
And so in May is when I proposed.
March, April, May. Yeah. March 3/20 they started officially talking.
Yeah.
April, 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months. Okay. Me and my wife, January 5th.
Basically it was like 2 months later we were engaged.
Me and my wife we started January the 5th, officially talking. February the 1st, I proposed. But we did some marriage counseling now. Yeah. So how did y'all prepare yourself as far as counseling wise?
There's a book called Save Yourself Before Marriage Starts. It's by Doctors Les and Leslie Parrott, something like that. So, but Simbis, SYMBIS, Save Your Marriage Before It Starts. And you read a chapter together, and then it's got questions at the end. And that was very productive and helpful. And create conversations and gets into the nitty gritty, you know, like even to like practicals and housekeeping and laundry and all this stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So from your proposing to the day that y'all got married, how long was that?
So May we got. And then the wedding date, we didn't have that at that point either.
That's good though.
And then but I knew fall was her favorite season. And or
was
whatever.
it fall the same year?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
we thought we was gonna pull that off.
Yeah.
We still had some stuff to unpack.
Yeah. And so me just in my own look up when the Day of Atonement is this year. So I looked it up on my calendar on my phone, and in 2024 it was October 12th. And so I sent her a text. I said, "How about October 12th?" And then she said, "OMG" in all caps. Why did you just say that day? So I called her up. She said, "I literally just texted one of my best friends October 12th, right before you texted me October 12th." Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. So it's like we got married on the Day of Redemption, Day of Atonement. We've both been married, went through a sour divorce, and then here we are.
Come on,
Redemption.
Man.
Redemption tour.
Come on, man. Come on. Come on. So why did you desire for me to be a part of your wedding?
Well, I mean, just for one, you were part of the journey with me throughout. But ever since I think when I was in, we swapped numbers, and we just kind of instantly connected. We just kind of meshed. Just feel like it was. So we just clicked, and so naturally, I consider and just wanted you to be a part of something that special.
So check this out. So this is how. A lot of times people want you to just fill in a spot because the bride has a certain amount of people, bridesmaids, and they want a certain amount of groommates. So we was in a community chat as far as us and the other groom. And you had stated like that y'all did need somebody to actually pull out. Y'all didn't need that many. You didn't need that many. So my thing was, my thought process was, and what happened was I got conditioned to, sometimes people will invite us to baby showers, but they ain't had a conversation with us at all. But now the baby shower is for the gift. And so it's like me and my wife have been, we get those invitations. We don't get it when it's something personal or just things that's not going to benefit the person as far as a gift got to be connected. So it usually be the baby shower. And so when he actually said somebody can actually get out of date, who wanted it, I volunteered first. But it was the fact that he was like, nah, because he could have let me, he was like, nah, West Carolina, he can go out, whatever. He said he'll do it. And it was like that. It was like, okay, I gave him an opt-out part right now. He can just, but he was like, so I want to say I appreciate that. And just to see how this is like the first really kind of, since we have called this the Alabaster Box, this is like the first interview podcast, right, that's going on in the Alabaster Box. And when you walked in today, it was like, when you think of a box is for you to actually put something in, but not for it to stay in. It's meant to be open, and
sometimes broke
open. So you go back to the Alabaster Box. When you hear Alabaster Box, biblically, that situation that happened with the Alabaster Box just stands out to you the most.
The story in the Bible.
Yes.
But for me also, about 10, 11 years ago, I was at a church, and there was a prophecy there that we're praying into, that it was given over the city of Alabaster, that the Alabaster Box of Praise was going to be broken over in Alabaster over Alabama. And so I'm still holding on to that myself.
Alabaster Box of Praise.
Yeah.
And we here! We here.
Break through and break out.
Break through and break out. And when he pulled up, when I went outside and did a video earlier, I think I posted on YouTube. Now he's on my Facebook. I did a Facebook Live, and I know y'all say pull up, pay up, and pack up as far as the name of the business, TWT whole thing. But I was like, today though, I'm gonna say pull up, pray up, and we're gonna praise up. And I told my wife when I leave, I'm gonna go. She said, you going out today? I was like, yeah, I potentially got an appointment, but even if not, I want to go and talk to Jason Jones. And so, man, I appreciate you for coming through, and and I just want to say, I pray that you're blessed by this, that this right here impacts you dealing with your marriage, or if it's financially, career-wise. And we just, the two ginger bros came today to talk to y'all. All right, love y'all. Hey, on now, get on with this. Hey, yeah, we on something. It's that Jesus.